Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Keith Andrew Network. This is episode 208. I am your host, Keith Andrew. Along here with Michele, the beautiful and talented Michele Mupo. And I just want to say thank you for being a guest on my talk show.
Oh, well, thank you for having me.
Now, for people who want to know what uncensored is, uncensored's my way of showing people that even with a learning disability, I can still overcome controversy in life. Yeah, let me do that over. I haven't done it as of late. I'm really rusty.
That's all right.
The whole point of my talk show is to show people that even with a learning disability, I can still overcome controversy and reach my goals in life. At the same time, I'm able to turn myself into a perfect example for people out there dealing with any types of disabilities or learning disabilities. But you should never give up. And you should prove to people you can still mount to something no matter what. A half hour, 45 minutes every time. You say anything you want. Call me an asshole for messing up your last name. But this is your time. You can promote anything you want. And you're supporting a good cause and you're making a new friend out of it. So it's a win-win.
Basically, I understand that you're disabled, okay? And I think it's really cool that you're doing this show. I'm disabled, but not in a sense where I can't work. You understand what I'm saying? I was assaulted actually January 18, 2011. I was actually with Dawn Marie. We were coming off a train, coming from a very important meeting. And somebody hit me from behind. I fell flat down. The guy trampled me. My hand got caught in the door. To make a long story short, I'm permanently disabled. So I have a herniated and bulging disc in my lower lumbar spine, nerve damage on my left side, and 2 severed rotator cuffs. That's why when you said move a little to the right, it was kind of like a little crazy. But I do want to say thank you for having me on the show. And I think, one thing I wanted to touch base on was my Keep the Peace project. I'm having a very hard time getting celebrities to actually get on the track. And the reason being they want money. And I understand that, but you got to think of it. The men and women who actually fight for us so that we could be free, they're putting their lives on the line for us. Like we wouldn't be able to go get ice cream or go to the store and buy clothes or go to the movies or go play baseball if it wasn't for them.
Right.
And it just kills me that people aren't thankful and grateful for them when they come home and they're, broken and let's just say they don't have an arm or a leg or whatever. They're forgotten, and that's ridiculous. My whole passion, I guess, is to make sure that people are aware that they're around 24/7 because they were there at a time when we needed them. So I think we should, be there for them as well.
No, absolutely. No, I won't mention the store where I work in, but every time I ring up a veteran or I walk past a veteran, I always say thank you, how are you, and thank you for your service.
That's awesome. So that's what everyone should do. I saw 2 Army people today. One of them was a girl, and I ran up to both of them, and I was like, thank you for serving for our country so that we could be free. And the girl just looked at me, and she's like, you're welcome. She goes, you don't hear that very often. And I was like, this girl was all suited up. Like, she was ready to go.
Right.
And, she said they were going to be going. I asked her where they were shipping out to, and she said something about, I think she said North Korea, but I don't know how I don't know. So I hope not, but that's where they're going to be over by there. So,
that's true. No, go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
I rung up one person, and she was a bitch, and she was in the Army, and like I said, uncensored, freedom of speech, freedom of self-expression. But the reason this woman was a bitch was the fact I said, thank you for your service, and she said, yeah, okay. But okay, is that the attitude? It's just giving you respect. You just throw it back in the face. But, some people actually deserve respect, but some people just say, oh, I'm part of the Army, and I'm like, I deserve whatever I get. It's like I can't deal with people like that.
No, I feel you. I feel you. There's good and bad in everyone. You just got to find the good in the bad people and bring it out. My problem is I try to find the good, and the good comes out for a little while, and then people just go back to being bad again.
It's true. Now, I'm going on the record. The first time I reached out to you was about 2010, and it's funny, but it's not funny. But I said, "Oh, I saw you work with Mickey James and Dawn Marie," and I said, "Oh, it would be an honor and privilege, set up an interview with them." Or was it at 2000? I thought it was around my talk show. I think it was 2012 to 2013 or whatever it was. And you said, "Oh, what's your fan base? Oh, you're not in a couple thousand. That's not good enough." And I will explain to you how it's funny. And then you're like, it wasn't good enough, and he said, "Yeah, you got to pay 36,000." And I was like, "For an interview? Well, you have to pay for their airfare. You have to do this. You have to do that." And I'm like, "How much?"
I said that.
Yep, you said that. That's the first time.
They wouldn't fly to do an interview, so I don't even recall saying that. But if you said I said it, then I didn't. They do get paid to do interviews.
Right.
Now I know I'm friends with them. I used to book Dawn. I don't book her anymore. She's not taking any type of bookings. Mickey's awesome, but she won't do an interview unless she knows everything. Because Mickey's very marketable, so she has to be. And at the time, she was signed, so she couldn't really do what she possibly may have wanted to do or may not have wanted to do. But no, I used to book all the girls, and they actually wanted money to do Skypes, to do, there was this thing called Spiffbox. I don't know if you ever heard of it. So we signed them all up to that, and they started taking Spiffbox requests. Like even Tracy Bingham did it. And then the guy was supposed to pay us.
Right.
And he did, but it got a little crazy, and I apologize about that. The phone just fell down off the thing. But, the fact that everybody wants to get paid to do something kills me sometimes, because I go out of my way and do things for free constantly. And all I'm asking is to get musicians that are technically famous, whether it be R&B, rock, pop, hip-hop, rap. And I want everybody to come together in unity and sing on my Keep the Peace track, record it, and I want the proceeds to go to the troops coming home disabled. I want to revamp their homes, make it handicap accessible. But again, everybody wants to get paid.
No, absolutely. And I wasn't trying to start anything. How it's funny is that's when I first reached out to you. So I let some time pass. So
and we've talked in the past.
Yep, on and off. And I was like, well, maybe I should change my approach because I didn't have my talk show then. So it was kind of all starting. So, it's kind of funny if a couple of years later, we're now on the same page, same level. So it's kind of funny how it came full circle. That's what I was trying to get to.
Usually that's what happens. It's not, let me tell you something. If you were in New Jersey, you would have probably been on a daily show with us. I know you live in New York, and I know you do everything on Skype, but we had at the time a studio that we worked out of. Which we don't have anymore, but we had a studio where I wanted to make it a live radio show. We had the towers, we had everything, but nobody wanted to do it. Everyone wimped out. So when I was doing my Fuchsia and Friends, we were doing that from the studio, but then people were calling in just like like we just did a Skype. Well, we were doing that, but on the air with certain people that I guess little Danielle lived in New York. So she would call in. We had someone doing sports. We had this guy Mike handled all the sports. Dan handled, what was he? He was just handling a lot of, he was just comical, handling fashion, everything else. But we had psychics on there. We had everything. You could do the same thing because you have the potential to do it. It's just, you may want to look into something, that may help you. Would be Zoom. I don't know if you heard of that app. but that allows you to have multiple. So there would be boxes all over the place, and you could just center yourself in the center, but you could probably get like 15 people on at once and then mute it. So it's something to look into, because you seem to be wanting to take this extremely serious.
Right.
And I know you're saying that you told me, oh, you had it disabled. You always, like, a disability, I should say disabled. You had a disability, and it kills me that people that have a disability always get set back. Do you ever notice that?
No, absolutely. Every time I try to do something, I have people always criticizing me, can't do this, can't do that. And it really feels like what I'm doing, it's moving, but it's not moving as in, okay, we're walking or talking. It's moving as like a snail. It's slowly going to build up, but it's not moving as fast as I want to.
Right. Well, let me ask you a question. You said people say stuff. What did they say to you?
I don't know. I had a lot of people say to me that, I was a con artist. I was manipulating people. I was guilt tripping people. That you say I have a disability.
Get on your show?
Well, just people in general. And I just, people say I'm taking advantage of them. It's, this and that, all the BS and bullshit that was coming out. But then there's other people who I interviewed that said, you're doing a terrific job, keep it up, I think you're on something. But, I'm promoting myself, I'm advertising myself, I'm really doing everything myself, promoting, advertising, looking for people. I interviewed, thanks to you, 208 people. I started off by interviewing people from LinkedIn. I interviewed actors and actresses, and I was like, okay, well, I don't want it just to be just actors and actresses. What else can I do with it? So I started to reach out to voiceover actors. Then I was like, okay. Then I started interviewing a whole bunch of white people, black people, Spanish, Asians. And I was like, okay, now people can't say that I'm racist because I now interview everyone. And
the way you said it, white people, black people. You know what it reminded me of? The Sugar Hill Gang, when they said, oh God, what was that rap? Hip hop, hip it to the hip it to hip hop, you don't stop the rocket to the bang bang boogie. That one. But it reminded me of that. I just thought of that. That was awesome. No, but screw people what they say about you. I mean, people say, oh, you can't do stuff all the time to me. And you know what? As soon as somebody says you can't do it, I find a way to do it, and I show them that I could do it, and I could do it better than that. Don't ever give up. Whatever your passion is, you got to find it, and you just got to go for it. If you want to act, you could do acting. I mean, don't let people tell you not. Well, you might have a little hard time getting acting because there's nothing in your area. But if you were in the city, you could probably be going on, go-sees all the time. And don't think, you couldn't. Don't second guess yourself. Just because you have a handicap doesn't mean anything. Because every type of person eventually gets to be on TV.
No, absolutely. Like I said, I interviewed actors, actresses, models, CEOs, professional wrestlers, and I'm going to ask you, who did you represent in a little bit? But I had professional wrestlers. I interviewed Vince Russo. I interviewed Sonny Ono. I interviewed Lenny Pablo. I interviewed people from like I said, I haven't done this as a way, so I'm really rusty. I interviewed people from Mighty Morphin Power Rangers to, Dragon Ball Z, to Amazing Spider-Man. And it's basically slowly moving. And after, basically, why I'm so rusty with this is I'm so used to saying 300. You're supposed to be 308. And the reason I went back to 200 is people say to me, you have to be copyrighted. You have to be trademarked. You have to do this. You have to do that.
First of all, you're not making money. No one's going to steal your show. And if they do, shame on them. You don't have to do any of that. You take one, you know how you copyright yourself? Take a CD of this, you throw it in the mail, certify it, do a poor man's copy, don't open it up, certify it, send it to yourself, and then just leave it there. When it comes to you, put it in a safe. That's a poor man's copyright. Don't listen to anybody else. When the time comes and you get picked up, because everybody has their day of stardom or fame or whatever it is.
Right.
You know, where you shine, whatever, you know, not necessarily being on TV or whatever you want to do, everybody shines once in their lifetime. You understand what I'm saying?
No, absolutely. You know, but going back to what I was saying, people are saying you should do this and do that. And I went to a lawyer / I guess he was a lawyer / advisor. And he said, first off, because you're...
money.
I'm sorry?
I said, let me guess. He charged you a lot of money for bullshit.
No, he basically said, number one, you're online based, so you do not have to be copyrighted. You don't need any paperwork. Number one. Number two, trademark. Eventually, when you become big, but right now, it's $2,000, and I wouldn't advise you to piss away $2,000 because how would you get it back? But he did say something that irritated me, but he was right. He said, my biggest mistake was I should have gotten written permission. Like I sent you a permission slip to sign off on. I should have been doing that for all 208 people. But I didn't. I was taking them by the words. So, realistically, I did over 308 interviews. However, because I wasn't in written, these people said, you know, my agent said, or my publicist said, you're asking stupid questions, I didn't like the video quality, take it down, you're hurting my career. I only did the interview with you because I thought it would be beneficial to me. I thought it would give me more impact in my career. I really want nothing to do with you. You know, all that stupid things. I'm like, then why did we do the interview in the first place if you're only going to throw it back in my face and say it's a complete waste of time? So
I can feel where you're going there.
So I took everything down. I said, fuck it. I took everything down. And I only uploaded every single interview that I got written permissions for. And I can show you. I have a binder of season 1 of all 100 people. I have, season 2 of, I guess.
I like that Spider-Man folder.
And most recently, I have now season 3 of all 100 people. So now I have.
I'm in that 3. I'm going to be in that 3.
Yeah, this is season 3 we're on right now.
Donatello? Can I be Donatello in that little thing? Because I love the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Yeah, sure.
All right, cool.
So
on.
Basically, I now have it in writing saying either I write something up, like we're talking on Facebook, for an example, and you say, do I have your permission to use the interview? You would write yes. Then I would put the month and a day there and say, oh, okay, well, you said on March 8th, 2016 at 8:36 p.m., you gave me permission. So I have that, or I have an email with a copy of the permission slip. So basically, I took everything down, re-uploaded everything back in January. That's how I started my new year. I re-uploaded everything, and I'm pissed. I'm upset. I'm pissed because this is supposed to be 308. But because everyone kept backing out, people were making idle threats to me. I'm going to sue you, do this, do that.
First of all, you know what I would have said is if somebody said they were going to sue me? I would have said, go ahead, sue me, because chances are they don't even have the money to go to the lawyer to do the paperwork. Okay? It's not like you're And I don't know, correct me if I'm wrong. Did you interview any A-listers?
Give me a perfect example. What do you mean by A-listers?
Okay, say A-lister, someone who's in movies all the time, like
No.
Robert De Niro,
Nope.
who happens to be one of my favorite all-time actors. Julia Roberts, another one. No, so don't worry about it. They're the only ones that would probably have the money to even sue you. It cracks me up. People say, oh, like, I have a. It doesn't matter. Every cause that I work with, it doesn't care if it's St. Jude's, it doesn't care if it's anything. Somebody always, like the Wounded Warriors, they're getting crap now. Like, people are saying it's fraud. First of all, it's not. Second of all, if you ever went to the Veterans Day Parade, I was actually on a float with Dawn Marie, you know her as, Jimmy Snuka, Carol Snuka, and we were with a guy who didn't have any legs, okay, and they picked him up and put his wheelchair on the float, and I almost cried because I just looked at this guy and I said, oh my God, he does not have legs, and why? You know what I mean? And you look at these people and they're riding bicycles without, like, they're doing it with their arms. And then you're watching them follow in the parade, and I'm like, oh my God, like, you do not know if November 11th, go to the city, go with a camera, go with a microphone, and just start interviewing people. And you know what? Just say, as far as a release goes, you're doing a live presentation. Whenever you do a live presentation and you cast live, technically, you really don't have to have a release. Now, you could correct me if I'm wrong. You could ask your lawyer. But news people, they never get a release form. Are you kidding me? You could say you're the Keith Andrew News Network. You follow what I'm saying?
Yep.
There's ways around everything. I just got to find a way to get people on this damn single. You know what I'm saying?
All right, well,
and I'll find it.
No, go ahead, but, this is not about me, because people heard that from all Season 1 and Season 2, but
I would be pissed. If I were you, I would be pissed too. You know what I mean? It's not right. These people, you took your time to interview them, and just because they're not famous, or they're not as famous as they want to be, they're going to blame you? Please. Don't even get me started. You tell me who it is. I hate that when people pick on people.
All right.
I hate.
Well, I can tell you off the air, the ones I thought were really nice, but they just threw it back in my face. But this is not about ranting or raving. But I would like to know more about Keep the Peace. I would love to support you and advertise you. But for our listeners and fans, how did you create Keep the Peace? What is Keep the Peace, and what's the whole point of it?
I'll tell you what Keep the Peace is. I guess it was when the Desert Storm was going down. I was in New Brunswick, and there was, New Brunswick, when we were talking before, I showed you a little bit of the city. So they had, it's a very, very busy college area. And there was a guy that was just sitting there outside of an ice cream store that I was actually going in because I love ice cream. So I was going into it. And back then I was 115 pounds. So, I was a kid. I had my guitar. I went in there. I went to go grab the ice cream. I saw the guy and I said, hey, you want ice cream? And he's like, yeah. And, he wanted butter pecan. So I got him an ice cream. We sat down and he was, he's like trying to tell me. I said, how did you do, how'd you do that? What happened? And he goes, well, I was in Desert Storm and we were in a tank and half the tank got blown up and, the people around me, some lived, and so there was 4 people and I think 2 lived on one side and he was one of them. He went home to his wife because he got discharged. Supposedly had a little baby that he saw for maybe 13 seconds. As he was coming into the door, she wanted him to meet the child. And she said, I'm sorry, I can't do this. I can't, change your diapers now because the kid, I guess, was all messed up. She goes, I can't do this. She goes, I have one kid. One kid is enough. And he stayed there for a second, saw, his baby, and then she had the bags packed and walked out. And he went to go stay with a college friend, and he was sleeping on the floor. And when he said, "Oh, you want to see where I live?" And I'm like, "Yeah." And it was apparently across the street from this ice cream place. And he crawled up 4 steps to get to his room. And he was on the floor. And I said to myself, holy shit. I didn't even know what to say. So he goes, "Oh, well, bust out your guitar. Let's play." And I said, "Why? You play guitar?" He goes, "No, but I'm going to write." He goes, "I'm going to write some stuff." I said, "Well, how about I write a song and you just listen?" I said, "Tell me about the war." So he started telling me. And, New Brunswick has a lot of homeless people. So I then wrote "Keep the Peace." And then I went home and I hooked up with Mike Costanzo, who happens to be one of the most talented producers out there, with MPC Productions. And we did a little version of it. He had given me, I had a production deal with him, and, he basically, had me track it down. Later on down the road, I wanted to redo it. My dream was I wanted to do "Keep the Peace." Now picture it like We Are the World, but on steroids. So, when I mean on steroids, I mean on steroids. So I told Dawn, which you guys know her as Dawn Marie, I told her my vision, and she's very business savvy. She's a very, very smart businesswoman. There's a few of them out there, and believe it or not, some of them are definitely in the wrestling business. So those women are pretty smart. But what happened was, I told Dawn, I said, "Listen, I want to have a We Are the World on steroids, and I want to, use that money to revamp the homes of the veterans that come home disabled to make it handicap accessible. Let's do a TV show," she said. I'm like, "Well, write it out." So Dawn basically took my idea and tenfold it, if you know what I mean. Like we did a whole package. We had people signing non-disclosures. But nobody wanted to do it for free. Everybody wanted to get paid. So obviously we're trying to find sponsors. We can't find sponsors. Now keep in mind, if everybody would just volunteer and do this, and we can get footage of it and air it, I guarantee it would become, somebody would pick it up, because who would not want to pick it up? So, and I have that's all that, I guess it's all copyrighted, and it's pretty much, we took a lot of time. It's a professional package. We had NDAs, contracts. At the time we wanted Whitney Houston, may she rest in peace, Michael Jackson. Then people on the list were just dying off. Etta James, I was flipping out, because I'm like, oh my God, everybody that I want on the track is dying. Prince, another one. That's just thinking about it. But I was able to, get a deal with Cool Music, Rico Mancini, and he redid "Keep the Peace," and made it had me layer all the voices so that people can get an idea where it was going. And for some reason, I just started doing I pledge allegiance to the flag of, I started doing the Pledge of Allegiance in the middle of the song. So we just kept it in there. And then we dropped some guitar tracks. Rico's amazing with that. And then, we have the vision out there, and we have the song. We have ringtones, which I'll send you a ringtone. It's pretty funny. It's weird because you're like, oh my God, I got a ringtone. But, we're trying to just make things happen. It's just, I guess the presidency was, I guess Trump coming out and saying, hey, you know what, we're going to help the veterans. In the beginning, I was very happy about that. And I was, oh my God, I was so happy, because at least they're getting help. Do you know what I mean? But then he phased out on that. So I don't really know what happened, but I kind of phased out on it because he started pushing it. So I was like, okay, well, I don't have to push it so hard. But who knows what's going to happen? All I know is that there's a lot of vacant buildings out there, a lot of homeless people. A lot of people are out of work. I don't see why the state can't take some of those buildings, fix them up, put them veterans in there, get the homeless people, to where they really shouldn't have to work, because, the people, especially the people that have PTSD, because they did their time. You know what I mean? And, it would create jobs for nurses, human resources. You'd have to have some type of security because I'm sure they're going to all get psychotic around the 4th of July because I know I would.
Right.
If I was if I was in Iraq or Afghanistan and bombs were going off, I would be like coming back to, New Jersey over here and saying, oh, shit. But it's funny because I had a friend that I guess was in Desert Storm, and he was on the 4th of July. It was pretty comical, but I felt bad for him. But on the 4th of July, for like years, he would get on the roof and he would take cork and burn the cork and put it under his eyes. He'd get all dirty and stuff, and he would go on his roof, and he'd just sit there waiting for something to happen. And I used to say, why is your brother doing that? And my friend Gina was like, he thinks that we're going to get invaded on the 4th of July. And I just, oh my God. But he passed away. God rest his soul. But it was just funny because I used to wonder, and then realizing it later on down the road, he had PTSD because you would drop a phone book and he would just jump to the ground. You know what I mean? So just by something like that, you're just like, what's going on? And I was a kid back then. And it's like, and then I grow up and it's like my passion. It's weird,
No, absolutely. So what's your next steps for your project? Have you signed up to like LinkedIn, Stage 32, all the big networks? Have you reached out to any networks?
LinkedIn, I did. Stage 32, I got on it and got frustrated. And then the other one I didn't even know about. But you know what I'm doing? Right now I'm trying to, how would you say, teach people to save money. And as I'm teaching people to save money, I'm making money, and I'm going to save that money because I'm going to wind up doing it myself. I have a feeling. So it's just, it's unbelievable. I started to hawk my gold and platinum albums, anything that was valuable to me, they're on eBay. Someone's eBaying them off right now for me, so.
No, I'm the same way, with my talk show, it's, you want something right, you got to do it yourself, I always thought, sorry, just trying to catch my breath. I always thought, if I waited and I do the right thing, it's someone would give me the opportunity to, just give me an opportunity to prove myself. And I just realized along the way, if you want something, you have to do it yourself. You have to create your own opportunity in life.
It's true. That's true.
Because no one's going to give you anything. So I'm like, well, I'm interviewing you. I interviewed a whole bunch of over 200 pieces, so-and-so people, because I like giving people an opportunity to prove themselves, saying, you know what, if I die, I would like to say, you know what, the one thing sometimes I wonder if I actually am having a stroke. I can't even talk.
God forbid. Oh my God.
Sometimes I wonder that, if I do die, I like people to say, I remember about Keith, he went the extra mile, he didn't take no for an answer. I remember he was kind enough to give me an opportunity, no one else would give me an opportunity. So that's what my talk show is. I give people opportunities for getting themselves out there. Like I said, I interviewed actors, actresses, models, CEOs, professional wrestlers, dancers, teasers, white people, black people, Spanishies, and it doesn't really matter.
I love it, white people, black people.
You name them, I got them. I cover all my bases, so people with disabilities, people without disabilities. I interviewed one person who has cerebral palsies, but he's a filmmaker. I interviewed one person who's in a wheelchair, because she's an actress, and I'm like, by giving them, a half hour, 45 minutes like you're doing, you're giving them some airtime, it's might not be a tremendous effort or impact, but it's, people make fun of me for this. It's the thought that counts. Say you were nice enough to help me, like you help yourself by helping me, by giving me the opportunity that no one would give. So basically, that's what the Keith Andrew Network is. Prove people wrong no matter what. Just don't let labels dictate how you gotta live. Don't let labels dictate how you gotta live your life, and just say, hey, you may label me as mentally challenged, mentally disturbed, or retarded, but I'm gonna prove to you, before I die, I'm gonna amount to something. May not become a big celebrity, but I will amount to something, and that's how I
amount to something. You see, it cracked me. You already do amount to something. Don't let people tell you anything different. There's always going to be someone that's going to knock you down. It's only because they're jealous of you, or they want what you have. You understand what I'm saying? I don't know. I got to tell you this, for the best advice to do, you keep doing what you're doing. Don't let anyone step all over you. Because I do that. I let people just take advantage of me. It drives me crazy. And just recently, I started to say, you know what? Stop. Enough. So it's I don't know. My life's different now.
No, absolutely. Even in my own family, except for my mother, she's the only one having my back. Everyone else is like, yeah, well, come back to me when you're on TV. Or when you have some money. Or
who said that to you?
And it's like people like, my dad says this is only a hobby. Once you start making money, come talk to me. Or, it's just whatever excuses.
I would say, Dad, why does money have to be with it? Don't you want your son to be happy? You know what I mean? These people crack me up. I think that just maybe I don't know. It just kills me how people are. Screw everybody, man. If they don't like you or they want to judge you, who are they to judge? They've never walked in your shoes for 2 miles. When they walk in your shoes for 2 miles, then they have a right to say something.
Right.
You know what I mean? I don't know. Maybe you should try Blog Talk Radio too.
I tried that, but it didn't really work out. Because when I first did the talk show, now I can probably do it if I wanted to. But when I first started, I don't know, I don't like Blog Talk Radio. It's only good if you're traveling. But I like, sorry, just trying to get my breath. I talk a lot. I just like saying, I like having video, because video sinks in. You see it, it's interactive. Audio, you're like this, and then you're doing like, yeah, oh, you're listening? Oh, yeah, I'm listening, But in the video, you have to see it, so it sinks in more. So I didn't do Blog Talk Radio because they want $40 a month. And
what?
Yep, $40, and it's like, well, I'm not pissing away $40 away. I give you an example why.
Write that off. If they're charging you $40 or whatever, I have to move around because my back is killing me. I can't even believe they're charging you $40. They never charged me anything when we did Fusion Friends. When did they start that? That's ridiculous.
I have no idea. I think that's like a membership thing, but it's like $40, and I'm like, I only have 20 interviews, number one, and I work in a part-time job, so I try to balance it out when I'm on network and I produce it and have it up. But it's kind of like, and to make a long story short, when I first started the Keith Andrew Network, it was called Uncensored. And I got in a fight with another actress because I invited her to be a guest on my talk show. She said no thank you. But next day, she's like, hey everyone, I'm blah blah blah, and my new show is entitled Uncensored. I'm doing this, I'm doing that. I went, son of a... That's everything I explained in the message you're now using for yourself.
Who did this?
Oh, some former Power Ranger person. Gotta find something that works. And the reason I'm so...
Try Zoom. But you got to bring that puppy in. No, I'm serious. You got to bring the puppy in because it sounds so cute.
No, I will.
And look up Zoom. Zoon.
Do you have to pay for it?
A lot of I guess you know when they have those company calls and people call in from all over the world, they could Zoom it and they'll show up in boxes. It's really cool.
All right, it's a possibility, but I use Skype Recorder because I downloaded something for Google Hangout where you can record, but Skype Recorder has the record function, so that's why I tell people I only do Skype because I'm able to record it, then edit it, and upload. I don't know if the other stuff I can do that.
No, Zoom you can because you know what happens? You're taping it live and then you could post it on a blog. You can definitely do it, and I don't know if it costs anything, but I'm actually supposed to get on one in a couple minutes, and you know what? I'm coming back on this show because we got to finish it, and I really don't want to cut you short. But remember, I told you I had a meeting, but we may be able to do this tomorrow again, and then you can air it another day. But I'm going to help you, and I'll help you get some people so that you can interview. In fact, I'll even talk to Dave Angel, who's a very, very, very good guitar player. This guy's played with everyone from Lisa to Prince. I mean, he was signed to Prince's label. Look him up. He's on my Facebook. His name is David Angel. He knows me by Fuchsia. Like, a lot of the music people know me by Fuchsia because that's what I go by.
Right.
Well, I don't really go by that anymore, but it's funny because I see people, like even Tracy Bingham will be like, Fuchsia. Like, you should, and I'm just like, I'm Michelle now. And I'm thinking to myself, I went to my real name because I didn't need to have an ethnic name because back then everything was so racist. They were like, she sounds like, cause when I sing, I kind of do sound like I have rhythm a little bit. So if you were to hear me on the radio, sometimes you wouldn't know, you probably wouldn't know what I was.
No, absolutely. Now, wrapping up, we can always do a part 2 in a couple of months. Give it some time, see how this one goes, how many hits and views. But wrapping up, I'm going to ask you one last question. And first off, I just want to say thank you for being a guest on my talk show. It's a real honor and privilege. But the last thing I'm going to ask you is, when I first approached you, what was your honest opinion of me? What made you say yes, and how you feel now, wrapping up?
Well, I said yes because I thought you were real. You're not fake. You know what I mean? You were honest. I still don't think there's anything wrong with you because you're pretty normal to me, even though you said you were, you made a remark, oh, you were retarded. I doubt that very much because you're pretty smart. Everybody's got some type of mental challenge. Whether they were diagnosed with it or not, I think everybody in the world's got a little bit of something.
Right.
I definitely have ADHD and OCD, so we know this. Everybody knows this. So, I mean, I am actually just very busy. This was the first night that the first weekend that I've had off in a long time. And I took this weekend off. I was just doing calls, like if I got a lead coming in, I would do a lead on my project that I'm doing, which I'll talk to you about another time. But it's... it's something I believe in. So if I like you, I'm going to help you and support you. That's why when you tweeted stuff out to me, I just retweeted it or I liked it or, it's all about everybody networking, everybody helping each other out. And that's the way life should be. But people kind of get, oh, well, I'm better than you and I can't do this or I need this and I can't do this. It's bullshit. Everybody needs to get along. Everybody needs to just chill out and stop using one another. You know what I mean? Help one another instead of using somebody. Do it out of the kindness of your heart, and I guarantee 10 good things will happen. Do you agree? Or?
No, I agree. Now,
and if it's on you, you let me know. I'll get some people to take them down. No, throw them down on the ground and put their face in your poodle's poop.
Well, wrapping up, do you have anything you want to say to your fans and listeners? How can they follow you? On social media?
I am on social media. As far as fans, I don't know if I have any, but it's at Michele Mupo with one L, Michele Mupo, and in the Twitter, Facebook, at Michele Mupo, a.k.a. Fuchsia, and I don't know what else is out there. I'm sure there's other things out there. But that's about it.